They say loneliness can play tricks on your mind. You hear your name whispered in an empty room, or footsteps just a second too late to belong to anyone real. But sometimes, those tricks aren't your imagination. My name's Daniel, and this happened last winter, when I moved into a cheap one-bedroom apartment outside of Portland. It was old, walls thin as paper, radiators that groaned all night. Still, it was mine. After years of crashing on friends' couches, I was just happy to finally have my own space. Or so I thought. The first night, I unpacked, set up my bed, and went to sleep around midnight. I woke up to the sound of someone whispering my name. Daniel. It was faint, like it came from inside the walls. I froze. The whisper came again, closer this time. Daniel. I sat up, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it was a neighbor through the vents. But the voice wasn't muffled. It was clear, right next to my ear. When I turned on the light, the room was empty. I didn't sleep again that night. The next day, I brushed it off as exhaustion. New place, unfamiliar sounds. It made sense, until it happened again. Every night, around 3 a.m., I'd hear it. Sometimes it said my name, other times it whispered things I couldn't quite understand. One night, I grabbed my phone and recorded for hours. Nothing, not a sound. But the moment I stopped the recording, I heard it again. Daniel, come look. That phrase stuck with me. Come look. At what? The voice always seemed to come from the same corner, the far side of the bedroom wall behind my wardrobe. So one morning, I pulled the furniture away and found something strange. There was a small square cut into the drywall, roughly the size of a vent cover. But it wasn't a vent. It was a hole, black, jagged, like someone had cut it out with a knife. Inside, I saw a space, just darkness at first. But when I shined my phone light in, I realized it was a crawl space between my unit and the one next door. Except, there was no next door. The building ended at my wall. I leaned closer, squinting, and noticed something scratched into the wood just inside the hole. It said, "Don't answer when it calls your name." My stomach dropped. That night, I slept with every light on. But around 3:12 a.m., I heard it again, so close it made the air feel cold. Daniel. I sat perfectly still. Daniel, come look. I knew I shouldn't, but something about it, something almost human, made me want to listen. So I whispered back, "What do you want?" Silence. Then, slowly, a hand, pale, thin, wrong, slid out of the hole and gripped the floorboards. It wasn't a trick of light. It was real. The skin looked gray, stretched too tight, nails cracked and blackened. Another hand followed. Then the sound of breathing, wet and shaky. I grabbed my phone, fumbling for the flashlight, but the screen wouldn't turn on. Every light in the apartment flickered out one by one. The last thing I saw before the darkness swallowed everything was a face, half-formed, like melted wax, crawling through the hole, and it was smiling. I bolted for the door, but it wouldn't open. The knob just spun uselessly, like the lock was jammed. Behind me, the whisper grew louder, layered, one voice becoming two, then four, then dozens. All sang my name. Then they started laughing. Not loud, quiet, breathy, like they were all standing inches from me in the dark. I pressed myself against the wall, covering my ears, but the sound was inside my head now. I felt something cold brush against my leg, then another touch on my shoulder. I screamed, and suddenly, silence. When the lights flickered back on, the hole was empty. No hands, no face, just that same dark space waiting. The next morning, I packed everything and left. Didn't even break the lease. A few weeks later, a friend texted me a news article. Abandoned apartment building to be demolished after multiple disappearances. I clicked the link. The photo showed my old building, boarded up, surrounded by police tape. The caption said a man's voice had been heard from inside the walls during demolition prep, kept calling the workers by name. It's been 6 months. I live with my sister now, far from that place. I still wake up around 3 a.m. sometimes, expecting to hear it again. Last night, I was almost asleep when I heard my sister in the hallway. She knocked softly and whispered through the door. "Daniel, come look." I opened the door. She was asleep in her room. And from the end of the dark hallway, something whispered back. My own voice. "Don't answer."